What I can improve is the instrument, but I cannot change your mind.
Every instrument carries a story waiting to be heard.
Just close enough to cause that clash.
I'm David Lien, and this is The Instrument Makers, a YouTube series where we visit diverse instrument workshops,
Bravo.
explore the artistry and techniques of master artisans,
Nice, that was gorgeous. That was so fun.
and share the remarkable journeys and insights we discover along the way.
Does not always look like it's going well, even though it is.
I'm here in Singapore to meet Ng Teck Seng, one of the city's last and only master Dizi maker. In a landscape defined by rapid industrialization, the traditional Chinese flute and the culture it carries is being threatened. Materials are scarce and the local market is shrinking. Yet, Ng Teck Seng continues to adapt and make. However, the very pressures of the modern world are what makes his instruments unique and the highest of qualities. Historically, the Dizi was a solo instrument tuned by ear and intuition. And he has broken that idea. By applying Western acoustic physics and rigorous tuning philosophies, he's evolved the Dizi into a stable orchestral powerhouse. Joining us is Ng Teck Seng's friend, Dr. Tung Ching Lun, who is currently the Secretary General of the Singapore Dizi Society, and also one of the leading Dizi players in Singapore. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and check out my website to read some behind the scenes. You can support this passion project by visiting my Ko-fi page, where you can buy merch such as stickers, sheet music, and guitar picks, and some curated and rare Japanese instruments, such as a Suzuki bowback mandolin or taishokoto.
I'm Ng Teck Seng, and fourth generation Singapore native born Singaporean. Okay. Great grandfather migrated from China, Fujian.
Okay.
Okay, and in 1927.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I had my musical training during my school time, after primary school.
Why did you initially get into music when you were young? Were you naturally interested, or your parents?
Yeah. Because I love music, and firstly I heard from people, my uncle who can play a little bit music, especially the Dizi, and I fortunately in my secondary school that I find a way to join the Chinese Orchestra. So I started my music learning journey from that.
Okay.
Yes.
Why did you choose Dizi?
Inexplicable, it cannot explain. You just look at it. Okay, this one's simple for me. Okay, this is easy to bring, and also it was only 50 cents.
It was only 50 cents.
Yeah, my time. Okay,
Yes.
Maybe I got very little talents that
Mm-hmm.
Then after secondary school, after national service, then there's an opportunity for me to join the Singapore Chinese Orchestra as a full-timer.
But I don't know how to play any Dizi. It's still the same.
If playing a few notes, that's enough. Well done, man.
Oh, it's very loud flute, a very nice flute.
Yeah. Quite
Yes,
responsive,
beautiful.
Yeah.
这个写什么?
This means his name.
right? My
Oh, you
name.
need it? Oh,
Chinese
you need it.
characters.
I heard that you carve poems on your
Poems?
flutes. Yeah, do you?
Some yes, some no.
Okay.
Mostly we craft on this one.
Okay.
But it take time, to get handicraft. It's quite take time.
Okay.
Okay, mostly we all done by machine nowadays. Actually, I was playing as a principal sona player.
Yeah, sona. How did you learn the sona?
I learned myself.
Oh, okay. Or why did they ask you to
Because
do
they
sona?
required a sona player, and I was selected to play sona in the orchestra because nobody there to play. It was quite difficult, and nobody to teach. We cannot find any teacher in that time, So okay, I try to learn myself, and from time to time that you're playing quite well. Okay, join us.
Oh, good.
During the time,
Yeah.
So it is some kind of chance to take a hand into my life faith.
Yeah. Do you still play now?
I seldom
No more.
play because now my major work is when I was in Singapore Chinese Orchestra, I not only merely playing sona, but I'm also playing Dizi.
Yeah.
Because during that time we got only 30 members, but we are going to play 50 members job, So we become very versatile, Actually, I started this Dizi making fabrications in 1986. Okay, when I got spare time, I tried to get some bamboo. It was quite rare during the time, but I would try to make it myself because the intonation of the Dizi always got problem. And I was a technical student in my high school,
Yes.
So I tried to find a way to improve the performance, the acoustic data,
So you were performing in the orchestra and you said, "Oh, this is out of tune."
I was not satisfied with the instrument performance. Okay, the function of the instrument was not satisfied.
Yeah.
So they asked me to dig here and dig there. To mend this, to mend that. So this is something that I started my journey in 1986. Now the next years, I went to Hangzhou.
Hangzhou.
To learn from what a very famous maker, so-called Zhao Songting, a Dizi master also. From that time onward, okay, I mainly put more time to focus on Dizi making. Okay, simultaneously, almost in 1989, I was accepted to study in Shanghai Conservatory of Music
Okay.
as a conductorship student.
As conductor. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Simultaneously, because I was studying conductorship, so I learned orchestration. Orchestration.
Both Chinese and Western orchestration.
Western.
Western. Oh.
Okay. In Shanghai Conservatory, all the orchestration only focus on Western.
Oh,
okay.
To understand the music, you first have to understand the city. Singapore is a remarkable melting pot, though its story began simply with the Orang Laut, the indigenous sea people who lived along these coasts. Everything changed in 1819 when the British established a trading port here. That sparked a massive wave of migration that defines the island today. There were Europeans seeking fortune, Malays from across the archipelago, and Indians, many arriving first as convicts brought by the British to build the city's stone foundations, followed later by the thriving class of merchants and scholars. The largest group, however, were the Chinese, a diverse mix primarily from the southern coastal provinces, along with the Perlanakans, a distinct community with deep roots in the region that beautifully blends Chinese and Malay heritage. Today, that blend has settled into a society that is roughly 3/4 Chinese, with significant Malay and Indian populations, all tied together by English as the universal lingua franca. You feel this diversity most in the neighborhoods, and of course the food. Singapore is legendary for its hawker centers, bustling open-air food courts where you can taste the entire history of the region for just a few dollars. While wandering, I even stumbled upon a ceremony at the Sri Mariamman Temple, the city's oldest Hindu temple, where the sounds of Indian double reeds and drums were beautifully playing. But my focus was the Chinese tradition. The Singapore Chinese Orchestra began its journey in 1968 as a grassroots ensemble. Ng Teck Seng joined just as it was professionalizing into the world-class powerhouse it is today, and his career continued to follow the growth of the orchestra as he helped define its sound.
It sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, one reason why you were not satisfied with the Dizis that you were playing was because they were not really meant to be played as full ensemble. It's usually meant to be solo instrument, right?
Yes.
So then you being able to work in like an ensemble got you thinking about
because
how it's an ensemble.
I was technical trainer, so in my mindset, the way I thinking of a sound wave or music sounds, I think it different way because left and right brain. Being a musician only maybe right side because it is all some kind of perceptual knowledge, right? But I do have a little bit more rational knowledge. Okay, for example, a music note also a sound wave.
Yeah.
Correct? Can you think of that way from normal musician? I don't think so. Now the ethnic musical instrument like Dizi, they are not really fully harmony in terms of this physics. You know why? Because of the noise ratio, because of the stability of the frequency. It's not steady enough.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the two key factors that you need to improve the function of that instrument. Then you can make it more harmony, more pure.
Yeah. And the reason why there's a lot of noise ratio, does it come back to the reason of
Because the
it's meant to be
making
solo?
the material quality is not qualified. Secondly, the standard dimension is not set, or by any way of thinking or by any philosophy that you can design it to maximize the performance of that instrument.
So what are you looking for in the material?
Material, we need to choose for those best material in terms of acoustic impedance is very responsive. The sound wave, when you interact on it, okay, the transmission and the reflection must be very good. You can see it, it's very responsive in terms of resonance, So you can dig up the maximum resonance, okay, if the material is very good. For example, the bamboo grown with rich of silicon dioxide.
Oh.
Okay, the silicon dioxide means rich in silicon dioxide. It tends to have very good resonance. Okay,
so the soil needs to have the
yeah. You must start from the soil of the bamboo fruit grow,
And it makes it stronger or denser.
Yeah. That's right. That is why a very good instrument can be so costly.
Where do you find your material, your bamboo?
Get from China.
Okay.
All these instrument, all these bamboo, every single one of them, mostly I get from China.
Okay.
Some get from ROC.
Yeah.
Taiwan.
Wow. Yeah.
For example, this one is kept from Taiwan.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is kept from Taiwan.
Is it a good one?
Yeah, very good one.
Well, okay.
Very tough.
You can make these instruments pretty quickly, but tuning the instruments takes weeks and maybe months. Is that?
It's true. To dig a hole, to make any adjustment, from the very beginning, within a day you can make 2 or 3.
Yeah.
You want to make it more stable, to purify the timbre or whatever. Mostly 2 weeks at least, because when you play, for example, these voices, you play for a few days, it tends to change. Normally, it will come down a little bit. Subtle adjustment now of the internal diameter or because of the moisture change, you don't know, but it's tend to be happen, So you cannot make it fast.
Do you use your ear or do you use machine?
Both, because I'm a qualified musician. Okay, my hearing is quite okay. No problem. But sometimes you need to know why it's happened. Okay, how you tackle with the in terms of technical, how you tackle it, and how you modify it, how you dig it. Okay, you need to accumulate some experience to do so. This is maybe lower than the 10 cents of the chromatic scale. National temperament is slightly lower, about 12 cents. Okay.
Oh, I can hear, yeah.
You can hear it, the difference, right?
Yeah.
So you dig up higher, you can meet the need of chromatic scale. Correct? Yeah. So this is what try to be more versatile, because sometimes they playing traditional scale. Some of the traditional Chinese music, you need to lower a little bit, to become more, what do you call, more touch,
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the thickness of the bamboo, now it's about 5 mm. This gauge, normally normal people never use. Only I use it. Also the internal diameter gauge. Okay, for example, internal diameter for the end is about 16.6, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like this. Actually, this data is quite important also, because sometimes very little different can affect the sounds.
At home in your workshop, how much time do you get to spend now?
Uncertain. I cannot tell you because nowadays also very hard to get good material.
Yeah.
So I'm quite passive,
If the material's not there, you're not motivated with the material.
Yeah. I do not have the motivation. That's quite human nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no problem for me to convince them, to persuade them to follow my own way. But my way is only for making the top class instrument or high class instrument because the cost is too much. Okay, they want to make it the Dizi profitable, so they wish to make Dizi in one day, maybe 5 or 10 or even 20 in one day. But they can only use 1 or 2 weeks to make 1 Dizi, 2 Dizi. That is not profitable. All right, it's not a technical problem. It's the interest. Okay, so we have different perspective. I think everybody can recognize my method of verification.
Yeah.
Okay, making instrument, the way of making instrument in terms of technical, I think they got no objection.
You make it for different reasons.
Yeah, for different purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to make it an instrument, every single instrument, to meet the need in the ensemble, not in solo. Okay, this is the difficult part and the highest requirement needed.
The modern Chinese orchestra is a fascinating hybrid, a bridge between ancient Eastern heritage and Western structural influence. Though its roots stretch back centuries, the ensemble was standardized in the early 20th century, heavily influenced by the Western symphonic model. To make this work, instrument construction had to change, playing styles were unified, and tuning was calibrated to a Western temperament to ensure dozens of different instruments could play in harmony. The orchestra is organized into 4 distinct sections: bowed strings, plucked strings, woodwinds, and percussion. While the specific lineup shifts depending on the repertoire, the core structure remains consistent. The bowed string section mimics the wash of a Western string section. The higher registers, like the violin, are dominated by the huqin family. 2-string fiddles, like the erhu. To fill the lower registers, some early 20th century makers developed larger cello-like versions of these huqin. But today, many professional orchestras simply use the Western cellos and double basses to provide a sturdy foundation. What makes the Chinese orchestra truly unique is its massive plucked string section. It features the bright percussive pipa, and also the relatives zhongluan and the deeper daluan, and also the yangqing, a hammered dulcimer that, though technically struck with mallets, acts as the rhythmic and harmonic anchor for the section. And depending on the piece, you might also find the liuqing, the sanxian, the guzheng, and also the Western harp. The woodwind section features various sizes of the dizi, the bamboo flute with a distinct buzzing membrane, alongside the sheng, an instrument mouth organ, and the sona, a piercing double-reeded instrument, like the Western oboe. And once again, depending on the piece, you might also find other woodwind instruments such as the guan or the shun. Interestingly, while many of these instruments arrived in China via ancient trade routes, only the suona retains the ancient name of its ancestor, the Middle Eastern sorna. It is a cousin to the Western shawm. It's also where the word horn comes from, and it's the ancestor of the modern oboe. Finally, the percussion section is a vibrant mix of traditional Chinese drums, gongs, and cymbals, alongside other Western orchestral timpani, mallets, and other instruments. Today, these orchestras are highly standardized, yet they demand a unique versatility. Unlike their Western counterparts, Chinese orchestral musicians are often expected to be multi-instrumentalists, switching between different flutes or lutes as the music demands.
So you're saying not only the dizi needs to be improved, but all the instruments in the...
Most of the instrument can be improved.
Okay.
Because we do not have the discipline in terms of musical instrument making. Erhu, even a grandmaster who making erhu, this one can be very good, but second one cannot be as good as first one already.
Mm-hmm.
Then etc. etc.
Yeah.
So I try to do it, the Dizi. Every Dizi must meet the need of this acoustic data. As a whole, it's a very collective whole in a section, because your timbre and my timbre is different. Your acoustic data and my acoustic data is different.
Mm-hmm.
What happened, 10% or 20% play together, very noisy already. Even you have already overcome the intonation and everything, but the acoustic data will make the difference.
Mm. So what's next for you? Are you still just improving do you think you've made the perfect Dizi, or is there still improvements you're making to it? Or what's next for you?
By and large, I will try to fulfill the making instrument theory philosophy. Okay, try to cultivate a system
Mm-hmm.
of knowledge.
Yeah.
A philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
even because I'm aging, even I will no more around, okay?
Mm-hmm.
People still can use my way of thinking or use my philosophy to make finest instrument.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm trying to do. Making instrument is not a furniture process,
Mm-hmm.
You cannot make this like making chair, making cupboard, same dimension. This is not work. You're making the violin also the same thing. You need more subtle adjustment from time to time, to find out the finest voices, music voices,
Mm-hmm.
to put more endeavor on the study.
Yeah.
I myself, one person, I cannot do so much thing,
Yeah.
Maybe I hope I can have some legacy.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm expecting for and what I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
What I can improve is the instrument, but I cannot change your mind. At least the stage now, I cannot change your mind. But hopefully, a day to come, I can change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
If not, I won't be able to hear you. You stay on stage is to let people to hear you.
Yeah.
If people cannot hear you, what's the use?
Yeah.
Correct or not?
Mm-hmm.
See, this is what I wish to emphasize. In future, maybe I hope we can change the people's mind. To improvise more acoustic idea.
Yeah.
When you play as a member in the orchestra, let people hear you.
I was surprised about how much I learned during this very memorable visit. It's easy to look at a piece of bamboo and see something simple, which is what I naively believed before. But after spending some time with Ng Teck Seng, I realized I'm looking at the results of a rigorous scientific process. He has taken the traditional Dizi and stabilized it using Western acoustic engineering, making it a far more reliable tool for playing, especially in the modern ensemble. Seeing that level of precision here in Singapore has completely changed my perspective on what this instrument can be. If you want to reach out to him or order one of these instruments, his email is linked below. Thank you to Ng Teck Seng and Dr. Tan Ching Lung for the visit. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.